Morning, guys, from Tampa Bay. Got a beautiful morning. It's almost 8 o'clock here, and I'm on my way out to the far side of Daytona to do some tests, to test ride all the Indian motorcycles I can. Got a demo day truck here. This is Sunday, the last of the 2 days that they're going to be in the area. Just opened a new dealer in St. Pete, but they don't have any demos there yet. So I'm taking advantage of this opportunity. I am super tired because I had a long wedding yesterday. And like I said in a previous video, I usually just take it easy day after a wedding, but hey, you got to do what you got to do. Overall, it was a good wedding. Had some minor vendor hiccups, but the guests didn't notice. It's just something that other professionals would notice. And I knew I was going to run into some problems the moment I got to the venue. It was a really nice home. If you're in the area, it was one of those really big ones just south of the condos, just south of Sand Key Park. So you know the ones I'm talking about, with a big gated estate entrance. And had about 80 people just in the backyard there set up. And you pull in the gates, and it's a big winding driveway, and it was half filled with cars, so I pull up to the other side, and I'm getting out, and the catering guy is right behind me, and someone comes out, and they're like, oh, you can't park here, you gotta go 6 blocks down, yada yada, and he's like, huh, what? I got all this food to unload, where should I go, blah blah blah. Well, the planner didn't bother giving parking passes to anybody, or telling them where they needed to park, or anything like that, so it was a big mess there. And I use the term planner loosely. There's 3 kinds of planners out there. There's the good ones, and they're not cheap, but they are worth every single penny because, number one, everything goes smoothly. Number 2, you get a lot of value for that fee. You get a lot of freebies and discounts that you wouldn't get elsewhere, and everything looks great. There's no stress, and that's worth a lot. Well, this chick, I'd never worked with her before. She was just ghetto as heck. And it was her and her daughters working. And then she also had 2 guys, one doing the DJing and one doing the uplighting. And they were just as bad. Like I said, the guests probably didn't notice, or if they did, unless they've been to a lot of weddings, they probably didn't care. The uplighting guy, he was using like 10-year-old equipment, so all the lights were wired. He had about 12 big uplight cans around the grass area, up on trees and up on the house, all that kind of stuff. It looked good at night, but he draped all these orange electrical cords everywhere, just throwing them over bushes and stuff. I mean, it was pretty bad. But once the sun went down, you couldn't see it, but it looked ghetto, really ghetto. The DJ was super ghetto. He was like 450, maybe 500 pounds, just huge. And all he did was sit behind his console and eat all night and sweat. And he had this huge towel that he kept draped over himself to wipe himself off with all the time. It was just kind of gross. Not professional. They weren't dressed nicely. During the setup and everything, all the women were in these like fluorescent green ghetto church t-shirts with their logos and everything. I mean, it was just cheap. And I'm sure they weren't cheap because the client was not cheap. But the wedding went well. I'll throw in some pictures here. Now the one big thing that affected me, and this is something that affects pretty much every wedding these days, is the jerk guests during the ceremony with their freaking phones and tablets. This was the worst one I've ever had, though. And it was quite a challenge. And it's bad because it affects my job that I'm there getting paid to do, and can get in trouble for if I don't do well. The ceremony is important. There are a few very key moments that you are expected to get as part of your services. You've got the coming to the altar, you've got some vows, you got some rings, you got some type of ceremony. This was a sand ceremony. You got first kiss, maybe something else special. And you've got to get it. Well, the problem is with guests that are walking around with their phones and tablets taking pictures and video during the ceremony. This one was so bad, they're walking around behind the officiant, behind the ceremony itself the whole time. They're in every shot, and there's nothing I can do. I'm waving them off. I'm trying to be discreet, but I have to get their attention. I can't say anything, so I'm waving them off. And it's so bad that the guests are even noticing what I'm doing, and they're starting to wave them off. Some of them move, some of them don't, some of them come back. And it's just plain rude. And like I said, man, there is just so much I can do. So what I do to protect myself is I take pictures of what I'm dealing with. I take pictures of the people where they are and doing what they're doing. So if the client ever says, hey, why didn't you get a clean shot? Why didn't you get a shot of the entire setup or the ceremony site or blah, blah, blah? I'll say, well, because of this. And I can show them the picture. And that's it. I mean, it shuts any argument down. Luckily, I've never had to do that. I've had them ask. And I politely told them why. And they understand. They go, oh, okay, yeah. But I've never had to whip out the picture. I keep them for myself. I don't deliver those pictures. But, until everything's kosher, it's evidence, basically. But after that, it was clean sailing. I'm the type of, person. I'm a frank, blunt, tell it like it is, whatever you want to call me kind of person. Some people like that. Some people don't. If you don't like that about me, well, I don't give a crap. Like I said, I tell it like it is. I don't give a crap simply because I don't have to give a crap. If you don't like it, well, I don't care what your opinion is. It doesn't affect me. I'm my own boss. So I'll file your complaint in my round file. So that's it. If you don't like the way I feel about anything, tough. Go cry about it. It doesn't matter to me. Nobody in the world cares but you. So I don't care if the guests get mad at me. It doesn't make any difference. They're not the ones that are hiring me. They're not the ones I have to please. I don't give a crap. I don't care how pissed off I've had them pissed at me. I've had them make snide remarks to me during the reception later on. Good. Go screw yourself, buddy. The client loves me. Client got what they paid for. Client got some beautiful photographs. No thanks to you. Kiss my butt. So that was it. We had a decent day as far as weather. It was very overcast, so we didn't have any blue skies or anything, but it was nice light. It wasn't harsh sun. Nobody was squinting, so that was cool. We didn't get a sunset as far as real nice color or anything. We had very fleeting color. I had about 10 minutes to work with, and I had a cool shot in my head, took a risk, and we got it. I like how it came out. I'll throw that up here too. And that was kind of my artistic shot of the night. Didn't really have time or interest or a place to do much more. They didn't want to do anything like that at the location. So that was it. Had a lot of fun though. But it was a late night. And then here we are. So I'm also testing stuff with the battery. Well, with the GoPro. Oh, let me recap what I commented on in the last video, what I tried to do to solve the shutting off problem. Knock on wood, so far it's not doing it, but it doesn't mean much because I could not reproduce the problem. Oh, that is the most frustrating thing in the world when you have a problem and you can't get it to do it on demand. When it's doing it, I can't get it to stop. But when it's not doing it, I can't get it to do it. So what I did, I came home. I tried the exact combo of stuff that it was giving me a problem with. Same camera, same battery, same position on the bike, even sitting on the bike with it running in case there was some kind of magnetic field. I set it out in the sun. I put it in direct sun, recording. I have 5 batteries. I went through testing 45-minute clips with each battery in each camera with the remote long clips, short clips, nothing made a dang difference. So frustrating. So, I mean, my only goal is to stop it from happening. Now, if I did succeed in stopping it from happening, the only downside is I'm not going to know exactly what was doing it, because I did multiple things at once here to try to stop it. What I did are 3 things. One, I took the skin off the camera just in case somehow that was affecting it. I don't think it was. It was just a little sheet of vinyl. But who knows? Maybe it was holding in some heat. I don't think it was, because both cameras were getting brutally hot, and they're supposed to. But one didn't feel any hotter than the other, but who knows? Maybe it was. So I took the skin off. I cycled through all the batteries. During that testing, I thought, well, you know, my normal routine up to this point has been I come in from a ride, the battery is depleted, everything's hot, I immediately put it on my charging station and recharge it. Now, they don't specifically say not to do that, but maybe it was affecting something. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in from a ride with a hot battery, take it out, just let it cool down. I'll put in a fresh charged battery instead of recharging that same one hot. So that's what I got in right now, is a battery that was recharged nice and cool on its own in the dedicated charger, not in the camera itself, not hot off a ride. So maybe that'll do it. Maybe it's the battery condition that was doing it. I don't know. And then the third thing is I've lowered the bit rate of the recording, and I did that by turning ProTune off. ProTune is, in these kinds of videos, it's really not going to make a difference. I did some quick testing with it. About the only thing that I see it doing is, if I was doing a bright sunny day, I might, with ProTune on, see a little bit more detail in the clouds. In the extreme highlights, I might see a little bit more detail. That's really about it. So I don't really care. It's not going to be any smoother. Well, it's not going to be less smooth with it off. It's not going to have anything to do with the sharpness or anything like that. It's still going to look great. Motion should still be the same. But it's taking the bit rate down from almost 45 megabits a second to just over 30. So that's a pretty good jump. What that does is it cuts the load on the processor inside the camera, which cuts down on the power consumption demands, which should cut down on the heat production. And it should also give me a little bit more record time as far as battery life. So between those changes, knock on wood, so far it's going great. You know, I just hit record here and it's still going. But like I said, the entire goal is to stop it from happening. Especially today, I'm going to do more bike reviews. I already lost one complete review when I did the Yamaha Bolt. And dang it, that was a good video. I'm really kind of pissed I lost that one, because it was the first time I rode it and all my impressions were brand new. And it was just a fun bike, and it had some cool stuff, and I had some cool stuff to say about it. Not going to go into it because I'll at some point review it again. So I don't want to lose one of these Indian reviews, you know. That's the number one goal of today. So hopefully it just doesn't happen. If I don't figure out exactly which thing I did was causing it, well, so be it. Maybe sometime in the future I'll have more time to try to do some more testing, but I don't know. I'll tell you, if I was betting money, I would put it on the bitrate change, because there aren't too many people that I see having that problem. There are some. I mean, there are people in the GoPro forums, and I found some people on YouTube having the problem, but most of those people were reporting the problem using cheap cards. They were not using cards that were fast enough, and the camera was simply stopping because it couldn't keep up, the card couldn't keep up with the demands. But I have a very good card. It's one of the fastest in production, and it is on GoPro's specifically approved list. So I know for a fact that's not a problem. Both of my cards are very high speed 633X Lexar cards. So, and I really don't think it was a heat problem due to that skin, because it would happen coming out of the house fresh, you know, brand new in the morning, nice and cool, and I hit it and it cuts off in 7-8 seconds. You know, it's not hot. It doesn't heat up that fast. It takes a good 5 minutes recording to get to full temperature. So I really don't think it was a skin. I don't know. It wasn't the firmware. Someone had suggested that. I'd already updated to version 3.0 and it made no difference. The last time I did it was on version 3.0. So, I don't know. I was really hoping that I could nail it down with that testing I did. You know, at least to one of the cameras. If it was a hardware fault, that would have been cool to at least figure that out. Send one back for warranty, use the other one. Even if I had a defective card, to nail it down to one of the cards, that would have been cool. You know, any kind of pattern. But nope. Everything worked perfectly. Go figure. Anyway, I've got about another hour's ride here, almost. I'm a little over halfway there. And somewhere around SeaWorld, I got to pull off and fire at my GPS. I'm avoiding a toll road there at the end. It's on Jetport Drive, and I don't feel like paying a couple bucks just to save a couple miles. So I'll fire up my phone and make my way to the dealer. Whatever they have as far as vendor tents and everything, I'll be sure to film all that for you too. Just like I did with the last Yamaha. And we'll have some cool demo videos. I'll have some separate ones for whatever I end up test riding. Hopefully they've got a lot of stuff there and not a lot of people, and I'm able to do whatever I want. We shall see. See you in a bit. Hey, we're here. And I am the first and only. Forgot to turn the camera on when I was pulling in. Looks like a pretty cool dealership here. We'll go check out the bikes, register. I'm a wee bit early. Let's see what we got going on.
Ridden it yet?
No, not yet.
Pretty impressive.
It's gorgeous.
Makes you think you're a kid again.
I had a Sportster 883, so I want to see how it compares.
There's no comparison at all.
I bet.
I'm a 35-year Harley rider, and the day we got one here, the first week of December, I took it out for about an hour, and it's amazing what they did with, this is basically a 1200cc bike, and it's amazing what the differences are. The real difference is the back.
Well, that's cool. Just had a 20-minute conversation with the owner of the dealer here. They only sell new Indians, and then what they have is, this is basically the rental place for motorcycles in Orlando. So they have 450 brand new condition used Harleys and BMWs in stock that they then sell defleeted. But he was telling me about all the process they go through to make sure everything's in perfect condition. So we've got, this is the heaviest one here. This is a Roadmaster. This is what I signed up for second. I'm going to do the Scout first. And he said this black one here has their stage 1 on it. He said on the Scout it's just for aesthetics. Just a basically different sounding exhaust. And he said the stage 1 on the 111 motor, which is in everything else, it does give a little bump in horsepower, but it doesn't, he said, actually do anything for performance because they're so heavy. And this Scout here is bone stock. So basically just the exhaust differences. You can see the difference in the can look. It's just black versus chrome basically. just the sound. And then he said the other one that I definitely want to do is the Dark Horse, because it's the 111 motor, lighter.
You gonna be riding this morning?
You bet.
Which bike?
You know, it's funny, I've got the custom lamb seat on my bike, and I did the vinyl. I get a lot of questions from people that are interested in the lamb. They say, hey, should I get leather or vinyl? I say, look, Florida, there is no competition. Leather, which is what all the saddles here are, I mean, they feel great, they look awesome, they get hot. Okay, we're here in morning overcast sun. It's not that hot out. Upper 70s. But the sun is on part of the seat, and it is already hot. I mean, not warm. It's warm down here in the shade. This is nice and cool. A little warm. This is hot. And this is nothing. This is nothing. Morning breaking sun. You do not want leather in Florida. Trust me.
Okay, good and bad news. Bad news is I think I lost part of a ride. But not a huge deal, because I rode one right after that, because I came back from the ride, saw that it had stopped recording, and basically did it again on a very similar bike, confirmed that they both ride absolutely identical. So no real loss there as far as information. But good news, I think I figured out what the problem is. I thought after I had just had it happen that, well, maybe I accidentally hit the button because I had the remote in my jacket pocket. Wasn't really sure how. Just making sure I'm still recording here, and I am. Wasn't sure exactly how, but thought, well, You know, maybe I did. But now, I think I know what the problem is. The one thing I didn't swap out, the remote. And I think it's only a problem with the remote when it gets hot in the sun. Because I did all my testing with the remote at home, could not get it to do it. But I wasn't testing the remote in the sun, just the cameras. And now here out doing all this kind of stuff, the remote was getting hot. I mean, normally hot, but it's in the sun. But here's why I think the remote was a problem. I just came back from the third video, and it was still recording, so I know I got the video, so yay. When I pressed stop, the remote was acting like it was non-responsive. Like the record button, stop start button wasn't working, and it was still counting down. I'm like, what the heck? So I tried the power button, nothing. The little light flashed, so it was recognizing that I was pressing buttons, but it wasn't doing anything. The display was still going. So then I take my helmet off and I'm looking at the camera itself, and it stopped. So something was up with the communication there between the remote. And I didn't do anything unusual, nothing at all. I'm just kind of winging it, making my way back to the freeway here. I'm not plugging in the phone just for the little bit of GPS for these first couple miles, and I just have to pull over and take it off again because I forgot my case. But I know the general direction I'm going. Should be down here a couple miles. So, here's my new plan. At least I know for sure I got the Scout review and I got the Dark Horse review, and those are the two I really wanted to get. In between there, I did the Classic, and I actually prefer the Classic over the Dark Horse. They are 99% the same. The difference being the Classic has chrome finished pieces and auxiliary lights on the side of the headlamp. And that's it. It's just paint. Ride is identical, controls are identical. But I really like the looks of the Classic a lot better. Okay, is he warning us of a cop up here, or is his headlight switch defective? I'm going to go slow just in case he's warning us about a cop. You don't really see that too often anymore these days. Now I'm going to look for the cop, and there he is. Huh, pretty cool. Appreciate that, buddy. Have to admit I do that too with speed traps. I read an article somewhere, I don't know if it was around us or if it was somewhere else, but it was in the news that somebody got a ticket for doing that, and I don't remember what they claimed the infraction was, but obviously the cops were pissed that somebody was warning other drivers on the highway. I think it was around here. And the person ended up winning. You know, they contested it, but they were claiming abuse of headlights, words to that effect. Complete nonsense. And they got busted for it. But yeah, you hardly ever see that done anymore. So I definitely got 2 videos, very happy about that. Maybe a third. I mean, it really depends on at what point it got cut off. I have no idea. I can't look at the camera display and tell how long a certain clip was for. So I won't know until I get home. Now with any luck, it's really close to the end of it, and I can still use it, and I'll get 3 reviews out of it. I don't know. Odds are, though, it's going to be really early. It's probably like starting at, hey, this is the Indian Classic, and gone. Alright, so no entrance on the freeway here that I can see. Maybe there is. That's going that way. Is there one going the other way? Maybe? No? Looks like I have to go down one more street. That's alright. So what I'm going to do is on the way home, stop at Walmart, pick up a new remote. They're $50. I could look for a used one. This is what kind of ticks me off. I had a second one. I had a brand new second one. Never used it, because when you buy a 3 Plus Black, you get a remote with it. It's part of what makes the old 3 Plus Black such a better deal than the new 4 Black. because it came with the remote. And the 4, you have to buy it separately. So not only is it $100 more, you have to buy another $70 worth of remote. And the new remote that works with the 4 is even more than the old remote for the 3. But Walmart still sells the old 3 Plus remote for $50. So I'm going to pick one of those up on the way home and just start using that. And that will eliminate this particular remote out of the equation. But there's no doubt that there is a problem somewhere between the communication between the camera and the remote. And it has to have something to do with the temperature. I don't think it's a camera though, because I tested with them in direct sun for hours. They got smoking hot and didn't have any issues. But I had the remote in my office next to me so I could see if it was still recording. So I don't know, maybe that's it. You know, on the bike here, I got the remote sitting down here. For these rides, it's been in my pocket, so it's still hot. It's not in the direct sun, but it's still hot. It's 87 degrees, and you know, it's next to my body here, so it's heating up. But I don't know, just my latest theory. Obviously, with it conking out like that, let's make sure it's still recording here. Yeah, it is. Now, I have the Wi-Fi off, so I'm not using the remote. I hit it with my finger to record this time. And that would be another good test. If this particular clip conks out, and I'm just going to leave this record until I get home, which should be about the card filling up. If this conks out, I know it's not the remote. In fact, yeah, I'll just let this clip run until I get to Walmart, which is really close to home. And if it's still running, I mean, that's at least confirmation in the right direction that it might be the remote. But if it goes the other way, and it does conk out, that eliminates the remote and actually eliminates Wi-Fi entirely because it is turned off. It's not that I have it on and I have the remote not being used. It's off completely. That's one of those professional beggars. Ocala Miami Turnpike. No, I don't want the turnpike. I want to go down here. Probably hit International Drive, I would imagine. Whatever the first road I know that goes to 270 or I-4 would be. Don't want the toll road. Probably the next light. Wow, it is hot out today. 91 degrees. It keeps going up. This is why I don't like the interior of Florida. A lot of people say, oh yeah, Florida's hot and humid. Well, in general, yeah, you're right. This is not how it is by my house. We have the water, which strangely enough keeps it cooler and less humid. This interior of the state just bakes. The humidity has nowhere to go and the storms are always passing over it. It's just always sticky. You know, we're in the middle of April. It's not even summer. It gets a heck of a lot worse. Add 15 degrees, add some more humidity, that's summer. That's terrible. Now go into your theme parks, you know. Now you know why the water rides have 3-4 hour waits because everybody's just dying. You know, we haven't been to a theme park in years. I think it's been a year and a half, 2 years since the last. Nope, I take that back. We went during HLO. Yeah, it was about a year and a half. It has been that long. That was the last time we went anywhere. And that was Islands of Adventure. Just before they opened up a brand new Harry Potter ride that spans both parks. Smart move on their end. Now you have to get the multi-park pass if you want to experience all the Harry Potter stuff. Because part of it is in Islands of Adventure and part of it is in Universal, which is like the same place but 2 different tickets to get into. Okay. No idea where I'm going. Looking for a major normal road going right. Anyway, I'll figure it out. These roads are kind of boring. I'm going to cut you guys loose. I'm going to keep the clip rolling. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the site, TwoWheelObsession.com. We'll see you next time.